Hello students, welcome to Sistra classes. Today we'll start with the unit 2 of Nature and Scope of Business Economics. Here we'll see basic problems of economy and the role of price mechanism. So what are the basic problems of an economy? One is what to produce, second one is how to produce, third one is for whom to produce, fourth one is what provisions are to be made for economic growth. So the first one is what to produce. Every society has to decide which goods and services should be produced and how many units of each good and service should be produced. So which good which should be produced and in how many units should be produced. For example, in IC material it was given that gun whether we should decide guns should be produced or more butter should be produced and in what quantities these should be produced, and also how to produce, whether should we use labor intensive techniques or should we use capital intensive techniques. The choice would be depending on availability of different factors of production. Suppose in India labor is highly available, so if we use labor intensive techniques it would be helpful for labor as well because they get employment. Also we get labor for a lower cost in India because the supply of labor is high. So depending upon the factors that are available in the particular economy, the how to produce will be decided. For whom to produce? This question says how how the goods should be, how the goods and services should be distributed among the members of the society. That is, it has to decide the shares of different people in the national cake of goods and services. So how the goods are distributed and what provision should be made for economic growth. Listen, suppose if you get salary and if you spend all the salary in the current month only, you cannot buy anything in the future. You cannot buy a home for yourself, you cannot buy a car for yourself. So if you don't save now, you cannot buy anything in the future, you cannot grow in the future. So all the resources of the economy should not be utilized for current consumption. Some amount of the resources that are available should be uh, made available for future consumption as well. So let us study what is an economic system. Economic system refers to the sum total of arrangements for the production and distribution of goods and services in a society. In short, it is defined as the sum of total devices which give effect to the economic choice. So guys, if we study the types of economic systems, you will get more clarity about the definition. So it says that what is the arrangement for the production and distribution of goods and services in a society, how these goods are produced, how these goods are distributed, all these are arranged in an economic system. So depending on the type of the economic system, the production and distribution of goods and services is decided. So let us see capitalist economy. In capitalist economy, all means of production are owned and controlled by private individuals for profit. Profit motive is a driving force here. Decisions of consumers and businesses determine economic activity. So in capitalist economy, government has a limited role. An economy is called a capitalist or a free market economy where the profit motive is the driving force, and the other name for capitalist economy is free market economy or laissez-faire economy. Laissez-faire means leave alone, let it be. Okay, it's a French word. Also sometimes it is called market economy. Instead of using the word free market, they use market economy. Let us see the features or characteristics of capitalist economy. First one is right to private property. Any individual can own land, factories, mines, etc. However, the government may put some restrictions. And freedom of enterprise. The enterprise can engage in any economic activity that it wants to do. Third one, freedom of economic choice. All individuals are free to make their own economic choices, like regarding consumption. What should I buy for myself? What work should I do? What should I produce? Like that. And in capitalist economy, the main thing is profit motive. The producers are profit oriented. So consumer sovereignty. Consumer is a king under capitalism. It means that uh, consumer decisions have given prominence here. So consumer sovereignty means buyers ultimately determine which goods and services will be produced and in what quantities. So their preferences determine which goods shall be produced. Let's say if the consumers want good X, only the good X will be produced, because producer wants to make profit. And if the consumer wants good X, the producers have no choice but to produce good X. Competition. So this is one of the main features of capitalist economy. Because of competition, everyone tries to be at their best, and it will result in efficient use of resources. So everyone try to give the best output. So in order to give the best output, resources have to be efficiently utilized. Okay. And absence of government interference. We have discussed about absence of government interference, and let us move to 2.1.0. How do capitalist economies solve their central problems? So a capitalist economy has no central banking authority, does not have any central banking authority. It uses the forces of demand and supply, market demand and supply, or it is known as price mechanism, to solve central problems. Okay, first question, deciding what to produce. What to produce is ultimately decided by consumers, who show their preferences by spending on the goods which they want. So, consumer preferences, depending on the consumer preferences, what to produce is determined. Deciding how to produce. Here, everyone is profit oriented. So, if the labor is cheap, they'll hire labor. If the capital intensive techniques are cheap, they'll employ capital intensive techniques. Okay, here the main thing is whether the cost of production will be minimum or not. We need to look at that only. So if the cost of production using labor is cheap, they'll hire labor, like that. Deciding for whom to produce. uh, Goods are produced for those who have buying capacity. So higher the income, higher will be the buying capacity, and higher will be the demand for the good in general. uh, Deciding about consumption, saving and investment. So generally savings and consumption are done by the consumers, and investment is done by the entrepreneurs. So higher the interest rates, higher will be the savings. So if banks offer higher interest rates, consumers will go and save their money. And if for investment decisions, entrepreneurs decide the rate of return that they get if they do the investment. Okay, so the rate of return on capital will decide the investment. Merits of capitalist economy. It is self-regulating, and it works automatically through price mechanism, and there is existence of private property, and resources are used in activities in which they are most productive. They are used in activities which are most productive because of competition. Okay, and there's high degree of operating efficiency. Cost of production is minimized because we want to increase the profit. We need to reduce the cost of production. So there are some demerits as well. I'm not going through all merits and demerits. You can go through. I'm just revising the important points. You can go through the all the merits and demerits. They are just pretty simple. Whatever we have discussed in the features will be there in merits and demerits. So demerits to capitalism: vast economic inequality and social injustice under capitalism. Rich will become richer and poor will become poorer under capitalism because everyone is profit oriented. Under capitalism, there is a precedence of property rights over human rights. So human rights are less important because everyone is materialistic. They want money, they want profit. Ignores human welfare because it is not concerned about the individual households who can't afford the goods. Okay, it only concerns about the households who have the buying capacity to buy the goods. The pattern of demand does not represent the real needs of society. It only represents the needs of the people who have the buying capacity, but not all the people in the society. uh, Consumer sovereignty is a myth because consumers often becomes victims of exploitation. So if the profit motive is the only goal, then there's a chance that there is a compromise in quality. So that if that happens, consumers becomes victims of exploitation. So excessive materialism means the drive for profit, the drive for money leads to environmental degradation. We also don't care about plants and the animals around us. We only focus on money. That leads to environmental degradation. Socialist economy, it is completely opposite to capitalist economy. It is propounded by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in their work The Communist Manifesto, published in 1848. Here, the means of production are owned by whole community represented by the state. In capitalist economy, it was owned by private individuals. All members have equal rights here. It is also known as command economy or a centrally planned economy because the resources are allocated to the commands of a central planning authority. This central planning authority commands the resource allocation. That is why it is known as command economy or centrally planned economy. So here the production and distribution of goods are aimed at maximizing the welfare of the community as a whole. So here we are considering the human welfare. Okay, so what are some of the important characteristics of this economy are collective ownership and the economic planning. There is a central planning authority which takes care of the resource allocation. Absence of consumer's choice. Since the central planning authority decides everything, consumer's choice is absent in this economy, and relatively equal income distribution. So since there is a central planning authority which decides everything, so there's a chance the the gap between haves and have nots is very narrower in case of socialist economy. Minimum level of price mechanism or market forces. And also there is the absence of competition because state is the sole entrepreneur. They have given you the examples also. However, purely socialist is not possible in today's world. You can go through the merits and demerits of socialist economy. So mixed economy depends on both markets and government for allocation. So it depends on both markets and government. In fact, every economy in the real world makes use of both markets and governments, and therefore is mixed economy in nature. What are the features of mixed economy? Coexistence of public and private sector. In fact, in mixed economy, there are three types of sectors. First one is private sector, second one is public sector. So private sector is profit oriented and it is managed and controlled by private individuals. Public sector is generally for the welfare of the community, welfare of the economy as a whole. It is not profit oriented. Combined sector, where both public and private undertakings can produce commodities and provide services, and they both can enter into partnership, and they can provide goods, provide services and supply goods. So basically there are these three types of industries in a mixed economy. So all the other points are repetition of whatever we have discussed. I'm discussing each and every 100% of the concept. Even though we are not going through each and every line, I'm taking you through 100% of concepts. You can highlight whatever I have highlighted. I've highlighted all the important points. Don't worry. Mixed economy is not always a golden path between capitalism and socialism. It suffers from substantial uncertainties. See, even though mixed economy has benefits of both capitalism and socialism, there must be cooperation between the government and private organizations. If, let's say, if the government imposes high rates of taxation, and if there's less efficiency in government undertakings, the poor will become poorer again. And if there's corruption, and if there's wastage of resources, and if there's no proper balance between the public and private sectors, it would be very much difficult to manage everything in the country. So there must be proper coordination and cooperation between public and private sectors in a mixed economy.